الحمد لله رب العالمين نصلي ونسلم على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد عليه أفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم. اللهم علمنا علما نافعا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا. May Allah Azza wa Jal make this gathering a gathering that He boasts regarding to His angels and that He is pleased with, and may Allah Azza wa Jal reunite us this way in abodes with the prophets and the martyrs in His Jannat al-Na'im. This spacious book, the 40 Hadith of Imam Nawawi rahimahullah, is such an essential guidebook for Muslims living even in the 21st century. Every single Hadith within this book has been cherry-picked to represent major principles in our religion. And throughout this course, we will, inshallah ta'ala, not only explain those hadith and where they came from, but also how they relate to our lives, how they are part of our everyday life, and how by applying them, by emulating those hadith, those critical hadith found in the 40 hadith of Nawawi rahimahullah, success, insha'Allah ta'ala, is guaranteed for us in both worlds. May Allah Azza wa Jalla make us all successful. With regards to the author of this book, the famous Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, his real name being Muhyiddin Abu Zakaria Yahya ibn Sharaf al-Nawawi, born 600 years after the death of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Syria, in the town referred to as Nawa, hence why his name An-Nawawi, as in the individual from that specific town in Syria. Imam An-Nawawi rahimahullah is such a unique character, played a major role in Islamic history, the pinnacle of dedication in worship and in pursuit of knowledge. His whole life was dedicated, and literally his whole life was dedicated to the pursuit of knowledge. And he was growing up in Syria at the age of 5 and 6. People passing by, they reported that they would see children playing. You know how the children play in the playgrounds, right? He would see children playing, and he would see Imam al-Nawawi sitting on the side. He wouldn't play with them. He never once played with the children, even though he was about 5, 6. He would sit and go over his Quran. And when he was asked, why do you want to play with us? You know, like kids, when they're out in the park, in the playground, and the one kid is not playing. They kept coming and trying to get him to play. Come, you know, pulling his arm, come play with us. He would start crying. He was, I wasn't made to play. This is a 5, 6-year-old saying this. Allah Azza wa Jalla did not make me to waste my time playing around. And one individual passing by saw this, found Imam al-Nawawi's teacher and said, give him extra time because he will have a bright future. He will be a religious authority. And he then memorized the whole Quran at the age of 10. He then moved to Damascus, where he studied under renowned scholars of Hadith and Fiqh. He would study 12 hours a day. He didn't sleep on a bed. He slept sitting while reading for 2 years. And he wouldn't go to sleep unless sleep overtook him and he would fall asleep on his books. His student would say, we don't know if he sleeps, if he eats. He didn't have anything at all except for one garment and a turban. Dedicated his life to knowledge. Never married, because he, as he puts it, he said, I will oppress my wife if I marry her and I'm in this current state of full dedication to Islamic knowledge. When people would come and visit him, he would use that time to sharpen his pencils. Absolute dedication. When he's walking in the market, he's going over what he's learned. He's revising. Literally not wasting a single second of his life. And at the young age of 20, he already became a teacher in his own right. And his works can be seen until today. And we study those in Medina. The main one being the world-renowned Arba'in al-Nawawi, the 40 Hadith al-Nawawi, Riyadh al-Salihin, the explanation of the Hadith book, Sahih Muslim. Imam al-Nawawi, rahimahullah ta'ala, later on in his life, he returned to Nawa, where he passed away at the age of 44. Relatively young age to pass away, but leaving such a mark in Islamic history that we're talking about him today. We're talking about him today 700 years after he died. There were many people who wrote 40 hadith, compilation of a certain number of hadith, before him and after him. But almost none of them have reached us today except for this world-renowned piece of work, piece of art. And he combined, rahimahullah ta'ala, he chose 42 hadith. It's known as Arba'in al-Nawawiyya. It's become famous by that name. But in reality, 42 hadith that are essential for every single Muslim to learn, memorize, abide by, apply in their life and teach others. Teach family, friends and others. And you'll see by going through these hadith how absolutely relevant it is to our times. Sometimes these hadith are more relevant to our times than it was for their time back then. So inshallah, we ask Allah Azza wa Jal, He accepts this from us and He allows us to follow in the footsteps of our beloved Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that we apply His sunnah to our lives and we teach others. And indeed, in following the footsteps of our Messenger, like Allah Azza wa Jal says, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. We have made for you the best of examples. Our beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, mention me one problem that you're going through that he didn't go through. More likely than not, he's gone through more problems and issues in his life than any one of us sitting here today. Losing all of his children in his lifetime, being cast out, being physically, emotionally, psychologically affected, going through depression, going through sadness, going through war, going through hunger, going through poverty, seeing his family members being slaughtered, and so much more. So it is crucial, my dear brothers and sisters, that we dedicate time to understanding these ahadith, and not only going over the overview of how these ahadith will relate to us and what they mean, but how can we apply this? How can we now we hear the hadith, what do we do now? How do we now go back home and carry on with our daily lives, applying these ahadith to our lives? All of this, inshallah, we will discuss in coming weeks, covering the 40 hadith of Imam Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala. We have water. So starting off the Arba'in al-Nawawiyya, Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah, in his scholarly wisdom, like other scholars, has chosen to start his book with the famous hadith of intention. Some scholars would prefer including this hadith at the start of every book of every Islamic science because of its importance, because it's affecting almost all external ibadah, activity or doing for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jalla. الحديث الأول عن أمير المؤمنين أبي حفص عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله عنه قال: سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول: إنما الأعمال بالنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى فمن كانت هجرته إلى الله ورسوله فهجرته إلى الله ورسوله ومن كانت هجرته إلى دنيا يصيبها أو امرأة ينكحها فهجرته إلى ما هاجر إليه. رواه البخاري ومسلم. Reported by Imam Bukhari and Muslim, hadith number 1 on the authority of Amir al-Mu'mineen Umar al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu said, I heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam say, indeed actions are by intentions, and every individual will receive based on their intention. Then the example follows. Whoever migrated, i.e. the migration, the hijrah from Mecca to Medina at that time, whoever chose to migrate for the sake of Allah and His Messenger, then his migration will be for Allah and His Messenger. And whoever decided to migrate for worldly matters or for the sake of marriage, then indeed his migration will be for that. This hadith was mentioned in relation to the man who migrated from Mecca to Medina in pursuit of a woman he wanted to marry by the name of Qais. Hence why this person was referred to as Muhajir Qais, the migrator for Qais, right? He migrated from Mecca to Medina to get married. So this hadith mentioned by the Messenger ﷺ, ulama, they say that this covers 1/3 of the whole religion, if not more. Because every single external action and ibadah and worship for the sake of Allah depends on your correct intention to be valid. Without your intention, that ibadah is not valid. Two people can stand next to each other, they can pray the exact same salah, the exact same pace, the exact same surahs. But one could get rewards equal to mountains, and the other one could even commit shirk through that salah. Just through the intention. Because one of them did it for Allah Azza wa Jalla, the other one did it because people were watching. Just through the intention. The validity of all our actions. This is why it's so crucial for us to understand the reality of intention, how intention is done, and how we keep our intentions pure for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal alone. When we intend on a certain action, there is no need for a person to utter that intention. Intention means that which crosses your mind, you're conscious of when you're performing a specific action. Let's say you're doing wudu. Are you going to do wudu just for the sake of it? Are you? Why would you do wudu? No, but why do we do wudu? If you go to wudu, why are you doing wudu? For the prayer. Excellent. So you're doing wudu. So now you've told yourself, right, that I'm doing wudu, I am performing ablution for the purpose of praying. And that is sufficient for the intention to count. Just by you having that crossing your mind, even if it's unconscious, that will automatically count as your intention. And that goes with every single action, my dear brothers and sisters. And it's essential that we keep track of the intention. Now we know this intention is so important. Who else knows this? Shaitan knows this. Shaitan is a master of ruining our deeds. And he knows very well what a flawed intention can do to our worship. So when you are praying, my dear brothers sitting here, when you are praying and performing an action, there are certain things that you need to keep in mind that will bi'idhnillah help you keep track with your intention and keep you from swaying right or left. Right? It will keep you on the motorway straight, and you're not going to crash with your intention. Number one is that you don't know which action can be accepted or will be accepted by Allah Azza wa Jalla. And so every single small action that we do nowadays, we desperately need for that to be accepted by Allah Azza wa Jalla. And we need to, number two, be conscious of the Creator in our ibadah. To be conscious of the independence will show you the weakness and insignificance of those dependents around you, like you. Because you are not there to please anyone but Allah Azza wa Jalla. Being aware that He knows your intention, and you don't need the praise of anyone around you. You don't need the affirmation from the one sitting around you. But you need for those ibadat to be accepted by Allah Azza wa Jalla. And so keeping that in mind will help you. Also, number three, you should have certain actions that are only known to you and Allah and no one else. There are ways. If a believer is smart. There was a brother. We were sitting in the masjid, and it was a Monday. So he came into the masjid, and we saw him. He had a water bottle with him. So he raised the water bottle and he started drinking water. Then he went back to the office of that masjid. So then we thought, oh, okay, so that means that the brother is not fasting then. That's fine, no problem. Later on, we're sitting with the brother again, and his mom calls him. His mom calls him and says, and he forgot that the phone was a bit too loud. So his mom says, oh my son, what do you want for iftar today? And we could see the face of this brother. He was like, oh no, I've been exposed. So after that, you're like, okay, we know you're fasting now, but we saw you drink water. It's like, no, that was something else. I was like, no, tell us. He goes, no. Don't worry about it. No. Now we're really intrigued. Now you have to tell us. He goes, I knew that you're going to ask and I can't lie. So I raised the water bottle, but I didn't drink anything. I raised it in front of you. The water went into my mouth, but I went to spy out again. Just so you don't know that I'm fasting. There are other examples where people would act like they're tired, they pray the night prayer, but everyone's waking up, so he also wakes up. Just because he doesn't want anyone to know that he was standing in front of Allah Azza wa Jalla. It was only him and Allah. That's it. So these actions, when you're aware and you put effort into these direct, unique links between you and Allah Azza wa Jal, that will affect all your other actions, because you're already going with that framework. You're already aware that you need to do these actions in a way that they are accepted. And any action that is not done for Allah Azza wa Jal is not accepted. Period. If you wake up and you haven't eaten anything, yeah? If you haven't eaten anything, let's say you wake up after Maghrib. Let's say you haven't eaten anything until now. Now it's after Maghrib, right? Can you say, okay, I'll just say I was fasting today. You didn't eat anything from Fajr until now, and now it's after Maghrib. So you say to yourself, oh, I didn't eat anything, so I'll just say I was fasting. Does that count? Why? Good, excellent. Very good. You didn't have that intention beforehand. You can't come now, even if you didn't eat the whole day, and say, okay, now I intend on fasting. It doesn't count. Just like if you pay zakah, and you do in a way to show others, or do it in another way with any other fraud intention, that zakah doesn't count. Your whole hajj, if you go, unfortunately, may Allah Azza wa Jalla safeguard us. Unfortunately, you have people, yeah, who go to hajj for the sole purpose of being called a haji. You spend thousands of pounds and travel to Mecca and perform the rituals of hajj just for the sake of having that title. Like one of the brothers, I said his name without haji. He said, no, you need to say haji. I was like, sorry, Afi? He was Afi. You need to say haji. I was like, haji. He was Afi, listen, it's true story, me. Happened to me. I didn't spend 4,000 pounds going there for me to come back and you not calling me haji. Is that right? Is that right? Why is it not right? So you wasted all that time, right? You wasted all that time, all that effort going there. If indeed his whole action was for that specific reason. Now, the other matter regarding intention is, not only do you need to be a hard-working believer, but you also need to be a smart believer. The motto, yeah, working smart better than working hard, it goes in Islam as well. It goes specific with intention. I'll tell you why. The other ulama, they say that they love this topic of intention because they treat it as investments and transactions to benefit them so that they can profit the most. How is that? Absolutely anything positive or even neutral, halal thing that you do in your life, as long as you have an intention behind it, it is all going to be counted as rewards. Going to work is counted as ajr. How? You say, I go to work to earn a halal living. That's it. Every single day you drive to work and back, ajr, ajr, ajr. Go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, all ajr. You spend time with your family, you go out, you go to the restaurant. I'm going there, spend time with my family for the sake of Allah. The whole time is ajr. I'm sleeping tonight, so those few hours I will regain strength so the next day I can worship Allah better. You're sleeping and the whole 7-8 hours counted as ajr. You go to the gym, you're lifting weights. And then your intention is, I'm lifting these weights so I can be in better shape. And if I'm in better shape, then my sleep will be better and my worship will be better. Your gym sessions will be sessions of ajr. This is why the ulama, they will benefit from this. Just like, you know how a businessman, a worldly businessman looks at everything in life from a business perspective so that he can always profit. And he can always somehow find a point of entry with investment. This is how we need to think. And what does that take from you? What does it take from you if you simply say for just 5 seconds, I'm doing this for the sake of Allah, and that's it? The whole action that follows that automatically become ajr. Now let me ask, if you want to go and play with your friends, how can you make that into an intention that you're going to get rewarded by? You want to go see your friends. You want to go out and eat food maybe, or you want to have fun. In a halal way, obviously. How do you make that into ajr? How do you do for the sake of Allah? You see your friends for the sake of Allah? Okay, what about you? Let's say you want to go see your friends. You want to see your friends. How do you make that into intention, a positive intention that you're going to get ajr? Say again? It's your fault. I told you not to say closer. But do dhikr. All those are specific actions. I'm saying, what intention can you have to then go and play with others, and that whole time you're playing, you're not doing dhikr, you're not praying, you're not doing any of those worship. You're playing. You're playing perhaps FIFA. You're playing. You're having fun. How does that become ajr? What do you need to intend? You can see your friend, it can be many intentions. You can, I want to go and see my friends that I love for the sake of Allah, because they are good people. Obviously, you're going to sit with good people, right? You're not going to sit with any Ahmed Mahmoud, right? So these friends, these are your friends because not only like you boys and that, and you link and then you have fun, but also they're good people. You with them. You're going to spend time with them because they're good people, you're going to have fun. That's it. That's it. And that whole time, you don't need to do anything else. You don't need to consciously keep saying that. But that one thing you did will make you get reward, acquire reward for every second that passes, and you're doing the most just simple things like relaxing with friends. Even marital relations. Even marital relations. Yeah, as Rasulullah mentioned, not only do you commit to a halal relationship, but also you'll be rewarded for that. So, it is extremely important, my dear brothers, that we at all times check our intentions. Why am I doing this? Sometimes it is preferable to just stop and think like, why am I doing this? And especially when you're in the middle of worship and you want to worship Allah Azza wa Jalla in any way, how can I do this? How can I improve on my sincerity? How can I do this so it becomes a hidden deed between me and Allah Azza wa Jalla? And there's so much that can be said about intention. Ulama, they've written encyclopedias covering this hadith. And it is not possible to sit here and give it to you right. But at least with these points, we can become more conscious of a niyyah, right? Intention in worship, in our daily lives, when we're doing the most normal of things or just relaxing, that we're always profiting, because we need to be aware, yes, we are in this world, and yes, it is allowed to have fun, it is allowed to play, right?
Yeah.
Not haram to play, it's allowed to play FIFA, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, it is allowed to do that, but we need to remember that we are still going towards Allah Azza wa Jalla. We're still gonna die one day. We're still gonna be expected to stand in front of Allah Azza wa Jalla. And every single deed counts. لا تحقرن من المعروف شيئا. Don't ever belittle a good deed. Don't belittle a good deed, because that one thing, that one action could be the difference between Jannah and Jahannam. When the scales are brought forth, and you will be held accountable for every single action, it is helpful to have as much good deeds as possible, to weigh out those bad deeds that we unfortunately, because of our weakness, we fall into time and time again. إنكم تخطئون بالليل والنهار. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, you lot, Bani Adam, you make mistakes day and night. وأنا أغفر الذنوب جميعا. And I forgive all of the sins, and I don't even care. As long as you make the effort, you don't need to worry about anything. Allah Azza wa Jalla will sort you. You make the effort first, and then leave the rest for Allah Azza wa Jalla. May Allah Azza wa Jalla grant us goodness. May Allah Azza wa Jalla rectify our intentions, purify our hearts, and allow us to follow in the footsteps of our beloved Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Any questions before we end?
On the point of intention, I guess that also has a stance on the opposite spectrum as well. So the person does a bad deed, that intention also weighs in on that as well. I guess the significance of that intention would be like a bad deed or something.
If you do a bad deed, then?
So the intention behind it. So if someone had like could be anything, maybe something that's maybe good, but they intended something in like a malice way or something.
Okay, so sometimes it is understandable that in certain aspects that which is negative is sometimes done for the greater good. Yeah. We see it depends on exactly what it is. It's difficult to just generalize when it comes to that. Number one, when you refer to only bad deeds, this is why when I said worldly matters that are halal, that are positive, just to put that out there, because when you go to the negative, then it becomes blurred, because you're doing the negative most of the time is with the bad intention. Or else the internal factors would affect external actions. So generally speaking, with bad actions, there will be bad intentions behind it. But then you have that where you got something that would appear as bad, but perhaps a person has a good intention behind it. For example, that sometimes this can be allowed and sometimes it's not allowed. And if a person is not sure, they need to consult. You can't just go on soloing that and perhaps you're falling into haram. But you, because you're not aware, you may have told yourself, I'm doing it for the greater good, but you may fall into haram. One example of that being permissible is, for example, if backbiting is necessary. Let's say if your friend, someone comes for his sister, and that person that comes for his sister, you know him, and you know some negative aspects surrounding that person. Now your intention is positive because you need to tell him. But what you're doing, the action itself is backbiting, is a major sin. But because you're doing it with the intention of the permissibility, in that rare instance, because they need to know who that person is, it becomes permissible through that intention. And there are other examples like that. But unless you are, this obviously is quite clear. But then if it becomes blurred whether the greater good is indeed the greater good or you're just fooling yourself, it is wise to go and consult someone who's either more experienced, whether that's through age or knowledge, depending on the situation. Okay.
You mentioned when Allah, people who pray, want to get the
because the one, like the brother is asking, so the two, like the example of two people praying next to each other, one can be rewarded, mountains of reward, the other one could potentially commit shirk. Like I said, due to one of them intending on doing it sincerely for the sake of Allah, with full consciousness in that salah, the quality of a salah. And then the person next to him is praying that way because people are watching. Yeah, which is known as shirk asghar, the minor shirk. Yeah, you kind of in a way associating someone else in that worship because they're watching.
What if you take the question, the start of Ramadan, but then, for example, remember the start of Ramadan, 3 years of time.
The specific scenario in mind.
You could do the namaz one. So you start off the namaz because all my friends are doing it. So you start doing it because my friends are taking it. And then you're there and then you're like, actually, I should be doing it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So that's definitely from the blessing of Allah Azza wa Jal, and from His tawfiq that you are given the opportunity where you go somewhere and you intend on other than Allah Azza wa Jal, but then you are there and you remember this and you change your intention. That is definitely valid. Yeah. So there are different scenarios when it comes to that matter. One is, for example, the salah. If you have done a portion of the salah for the sake of someone watching you, but then the rest of it is done for the sake of Allah, then apart from the difference of opinion, moving away from difference of opinion in that matter, it is easier to say that the portion that you dedicate for Allah Azza wa Jal, that's going to be accepted. But the one that you did for others will be rejected from you. Because as we know, salah is not full acceptance or full rejection, right? But it's more of a percentage exception, right? Hopefully that makes sense, that analogy. Where you got 100%, 90%, 80%, as in the hadith. Some people pray, they take back whole salah, half the salah, quarter salah, yeah? Depending on the person's intention. خلاص بارك الله فيكم جميعا وصلى الله على محمد وعلى اله وصحبه